1, 2, 3. We love open adoption! Woohoo! We are going to talk about open adoption. We are going to talk about the fears, like, holy cow, what are we going to get ourselves into if we choose open adoption? Should we choose closed adoption? We're going to talk about all of that and share what our family did and why. So I'm going to grab my coffee, you grab your coffee, and join me back here in a second. You are thinking about adoption, and that is super exciting. But should we choose closed adoption? Should we choose open adoption? What do those even mean? So let's talk about the basics first, and then we're going to get into the nitty-gritty as to how it can benefit or hurt your family. All right, let's talk about the basics of closed adoption first. Closed adoption is just what it sounds like, closed. There is not any information between the birth family and the adoptive family. You're not sharing pictures, you're not sharing information back and forth, you're not going to know very much about their medical history, and even as time goes on, there won't be any updating of any medical history, and it most likely means that the birth family is not going to know anything about you, the adoptive family, also. On the emotional side of that, there is the kid wondering, why did they choose adoption for me? And you as an adoptive parent most likely will not be able to answer that. On the birth family side, did they make the right decision choosing adoption? Did they choose the right family? They're not going to have that peace of mind or that closure years down the road, or even a few months down the road when it's closed, because you guys are not going to be sharing any information about each other back and forth. It's closed. Later on down the road, if your child or you want to get in touch with that birth family, it's going to be a lot harder to get in touch with them because those records most likely are going to be sealed. Open adoption is just that. It is open. You are going to have information about the birth family. They are going to have information about you, the adoptive family, and the child. You can choose the level of openness that you want, but at a basic level, you guys will know about each other. You will know about family history. You can build a positive relationship with that birth family to share with your child. You will be able to answer the whys. Why did they choose adoption? Why did they choose you, my parents? That's a big one. Where are they from? What was their life circumstance like? All of that. Do I have other siblings? Do I have aunts and uncles and cousins on that side? All of those questions you will be able to answer. Knowing medical history as your child grows up is a really big deal, because if the birth family is young, when this child is born, when your child is born, then there might not be a ton of medical history yet. But as they grow older, as your child grows older, things might come up, and it'll make a world of difference in how you care for the health of your child by knowing those medical issues that the birth family has or may not have. Your child will know their story. They will have security in who they are and why the birth family chose adoption for them, why they chose you as their parents. That is a huge deal in the formation of your child. As their identity forms, they will have confidence and security and safety in knowing, having all those questions answered. There are different levels to open adoption that you and your spouse or you need to determine what, if you choose open adoption, what would be the right level of interaction. You can be open to everything. Come on over when the baby's a week old. Come on over, hold the baby, let's talk, let's, have lunch together, let's have coffee together, let's cry together, let's hug, let's all these things. And the baby sees, your child sees the birth family all the time. That's like uber level of open adoption. One step down is you guys know who each other are. You are interacting when the child's at an appropriate age. You talk about getting together. You talk about visits. You talk about phone calls. You're making those decisions together to benefit the child as they grow. It also helps bring closure to the birth family to know, I chose a great family. My kid is doing awesome, and that feels really good. So it brings safety and security and peace of mind to both sides when you have that open adoption. And then there's the level where, you know what, I only feel comfortable with either you or the birth family sending pictures every once in a while on a birthday or a special occasion, letting me know how they're doing, but no phone calls, no visits. You as the adoptive family get to choose what level you want. You need to be comfortable with it, you need to have confidence in it, and the right birth mom, birth family, they are going to choose at what level they are comfortable with too. And if your preferences match up, that's usually when a great match comes. Are there negatives to open adoption? I'm going to talk about the positives in a second, but yes, there are negatives to open adoption. You might get someone on the birth family side who's a little bit crazy, or who has a lot of drama, or who wants to get a little bit too involved, and you kind of have to create that boundary. Those are things that, yes, you have to worry about in any relationship across the board. It doesn't have to be adoption. But when you have a child involved and you have hearts involved and emotions involved and all the things that come with that, there could be drama, and you got to be prepared for that. We were told to be open to everything, to be able to be shown to a broader range of birth moms when we were in the process of adopting our sons 6 years apart. It scared the crap out of me, all right? Scared the everything out of me. Did I actually want visits? I felt very jealous of my kid, even though they weren't even born yet. Jealous of my family, jealous of our time. Am I gonna have to share my kid? And I really did not want to be open to visits, but I trusted the guidance of the adoption agency that we were using, and they were right. They were right. Now, one thing that they did tell us was, just because you're open to something doesn't mean it's actually going to happen. There is what a lot of birth moms go through, birth families go through, is when they're pregnant, they're feeling that baby, you know, they're coming up on the handing over of a child to a different family. In those moments, they might really and truly and honestly want to be involved, to have visits, to do all that. But there's also a level that you have to remember that a lot of birth families, as time goes on, they might start stepping back. Either it's too painful to watch the adoptive family raise a child that they gave birth to, or who knows whatever is happening on their side of things, but they might step back a little bit. So we were told, because that's an option of them stepping back, be open to it, be open to as much as you can, and then as things go on, as things progress, you take it as it comes. You create boundaries as it comes. You don't ever lie. You don't ever say, yes, I'm going to be open to visits when you're actually not. You want to choose what's going to be best for you and what's going to be best for your child and how you raise them. And that takes a lot of searching your soul, talking to your spouse, talking to other people who have gone through it, wondering how they do things, what boundaries they create. Because there's going to need boundaries on both sides. The birth family, they're going to want boundaries to protect themselves. They're not going to want you calling them 24 hours a day, giving them updates on their child when they are grieving and need some space to just kind of heal. Will they want to see the child? Pictures of the child? Yes. Are they going to want to know that they are healthy? Yes. But that doesn't mean they want you texting them all the time. So they might say, just step back a little bit, woman. Give me some room. So you be open to that. You want to love the birth family and honor them and respect them to the utmost. How can we, this is what I had to tell myself, was how can I not love the birth family in my wanting closed adoption at one point? How can I love my child and not them when they gave life to my child? That changes things. That changes perspective. And I have to be honest, when the idea of closed adoption came up, before we even knew really anything about adoption, but we had to choose, what were we open to? What kind of adoption did we want? And to be honest, the idea of a closed adoption can sound amazing. You're not going to have to worry about drama. You're not going to have to worry about a birth family member wanting more visits than normal, or spending tons of time on the phone, or trying to get themselves to have more of you, you don't have to worry about that with closed adoption. There's something really beautiful about that, but you have to think long term. And for some families, that works amazing. I have a really dear friend right now who today is holding her adoptive son for the first time, and their birth mom chose closed adoption. So they were open to everything. The birth family chose closed. They honor that. They respect that. If that ever changes, they'll talk about it, you know? So there are different levels, and you want to honor and respect the birth family, and also think about the future of your child down the road. What do I want to be able to share with my child about their birth family? If your birth family happens to choose closed, or you choose a closed adoption, I would recommend this. Try to get as much information from the agency or the lawyer or whoever you're using, the birth family, and get as much information as you can about them to be able to share those things with your kid. And it's all about how you present things. It's all about saying, I know they loved you. This was their situation. They wanted something different for you. They wanted this. They wanted a better whatever that situation is. And they chose us to be your family. And to be able to give your child some explanation long term is going to help so much in their security and their safety and answering some of their questions. Even if there is no more contact, even if it's a closed adoption, being able to share something will be so helpful to your kid down the road. And a lot of it is, like I said, it's how you present to them. If you are closed, like, we don't know anything, sorry, I don't know what to tell you, and you move on, that's gonna stunt your child. That is going to bring up way more questions. You know, just like you, think about if you wanted to know something about someone and you got a closed door with every answer. That hurts and brings up a whole lot more questions than maybe you were intending to have or thought you would have. So think long term, how you explain things to your kids, and when you come to it when you answer with a positive, healthy, wise, smart, I want to give you the answers kind of an attitude, then your kid is going to feel content and happy in who they are, and that the family that they're with as they grow into the person that they're supposed to be. So it's up to you. It's up to you, no matter whether it's open or closed, to give your child that security, and to the way that you explain it, the attitude that you have about their adoption, they will take on. For us, we have built a beautiful relationship with each of our 3 birth families that we cannot imagine not having that with them. And I want to get all teary when I think about the stories of my kids and where they came from and where their birth families have been able to go from day one, oh my gosh, I'm pregnant, what am I going to do, to finding us, to us loving each other, building a relationship with each other, wanting what is best together for the children, and moving forward with beautiful boundaries that we all respect. We respect each other. We love each other. When the kids were little, we sent lots of pictures. As they're older, there's so much on social media that we're friends on social media, so we can see each other's stuff and be a part of our lives, their lives that way. We have been able to have beautiful visits with our oldest son and his birth family, and with our middle son and his birth family. And it has been an incredible time, an appropriate time. And then my daughter is still too young to ask to meet her birth family, but when that happens, we will do that. We have seen them since the birth, but she was a baby or little and doesn't know yet who they are. She knows Nana and Papa. Nana and Papa come, you know, every once in a while, and gifts are sent and all of that. But as far as her asking, can I meet them? That will probably come in a few years, and we'll be ready for that, and we'll get to do that. And we don't want to confuse our kids in any way. We don't want to put more on them than their precious little brains at the age that they are can handle. So we are taking one situation at a time, one question at a time, and we want to honor our birth families. We never say anything bad about them. We always say positive, good things about their birth families to them. If there are things to know later down the line, we will share it with them age appropriately later down the line. But as we are building their story, they are understanding their story, they're understanding adoption, we have nothing but positive and encouraging and exciting things to share with them about how they chose us, what their life was like, why they chose adoption. Look at how God wove us together and made us a family. We love adoption. Like, that is our kind of mantra. That's how we talk to our kids, is in a positive nature. And that is only beneficial for the kids. You don't want to say, oh my gosh, they were such druggies, or I don't know, whatever their situation is. You don't want to share that with your kid at a young age. You want to be honoring. I mean, they chose you. A question that I get is there any kind of emotional bond between birth family and my child when we visit, when we get together? Is there that bond? And there really is not. There's no bond. It's like hanging out with a special family friend. That's what it feels like. Our sons know this is a special visit, but there's no bond there. There is no attachment there. It is, okay, this is kind of cool. I really like this person I'm hanging out with. And it helps them answer some questions. Like for our son, he just wanted to see them face to face. He wanted to know what their personalities were like, how they talked, what they sounded like. And that was enough for him. And for our second son, I think it was the same thing. He wants to be able to picture his birth mom, and when he thinks about her, has questions, he has a face to go with his questions or to think about her in his mind. And that's a big deal. Now, I think our daughter is going to be a little bit more emotional about it. She's already asking a lot deeper questions than our boys did. And we honor those questions, and it will be a very special visit when she does ask to go meet her birth family. Another question I get is, do our kids long to be with their birth family? They don't. They are secure in us being their parents, in the family that God made us. And again, it all goes back to how we communicate all of this to our kids. Our boys tell us all the time, and our daughter too, but she's 5. So it means more when the kids are older. They tell us all the time, I am so happy that God made us a family. You are the best mom ever. I love you so much. And their bond, their draw is with us, and not to the birth family, because in all reality, like with any relationship, there's not a relationship there. There is love and care and respect, but there's not a bond between a mom and a child or a dad and a child, because we're the ones there every day. We were chosen for this job, and it's an honor to do it. And because of that, our kids are reaping the benefit. We're mom, we're dad. So there's no bond, there's no longing to be with a birth family. That's now. That might change when they're older and they just have more questions and want to get to know them at a different level, and that will be great when it's that time. And they'll most likely be teenagers or adults when that happens. Is it a weird adjustment when we come home after visiting the birth family? There really isn't. It's like visiting family friends. They know it's a special visit, but we come home, we have our regular life, we have our neighbors and our friends and all that, and we just jump right back into normal life. With both of our boys, after visiting their birth families, they were content. They were satisfied. There weren't any more questions for a while. So, and that's where we are right now, since we had just visited our middle son's birth family. He's content. He is back to life as normal, and he is satisfied with a great trip. When you have a true love for your birth family, no matter what their background is or the situation that led them to adoption, usually it's a hard situation. Life isn't perfect and someone chooses, I think I'm going to choose adoption for my child. No, life is hard. And there is a reason that brought them to this decision, and there's a reason why they followed through on it. And you want to love your birth family, respect them, build that relationship with them to make everything as healthy as possible. It will, trust me, do wonders for your kid as they are growing older. So if you are wondering about open adoption, wondering what is best for you, if I haven't answered your question, go ahead and reach out to me. I would love to talk to you more about it. I'm extremely passionate about open adoption. I understand how beautiful closed adoption can be also. So send me a message, send me an email, ask your question in the discussions tab or in the comments below. Come on over to my Facebook page and ask your questions there. We dig deeper on our Facebook group in all these issues of adoption, foster care, race, family, real life, all those things. We're getting nitty-gritty over there. So come on over and join us. Subscribe, please, and make sure to hit that bell so you get notified every time a new video is uploaded. When you are here, your family, so thank you for being here, and let me know how I can help you in your adoption journey. Can't put down the coffee.
Hi guys. So, I love you because you're my best friend.
Oh, I remember where I was at. How I can help you in your adoption.
Hey now, take a step outside and seize the day.